Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Rangers Rabble. My name's Brian, and my guest tonight is a well-known contributor to the Rangers Rabble. And tonight he's out to talk about his favourite shirts of Rangers history. Good evening, Alan. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Brian. Thanks for having me.
No, it's great. This is something I've been wanting to sort of see what everybody's thoughts are, and I would imagine that everybody's got their favourites in mind, their dislikes, and yeah, I think you've come up with a good selection tonight. I would say, was it hard?
It was. There was some tops that were pretty easy to pick because they weren't just memorable tops. They meant something to me. And there was a couple of tops that I just really liked the design of, and a couple of tops that stood out for me at important times in our history. They're all tops that I have seen Rangers play in live in the flesh. They're not before my time, so they all mean something to me in that level as well. So in that respect, it was quite easy, but at the same time, trying to rule out a couple of things was quite hard as well.
Yeah, and I think, as we were mentioning just before we started, there's some shirts that are pretty easy to pick, and there's other ones that are very forgettable.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there were some, when I was looking it up, there were some shirts that I completely forgot about. I put to the back of my mind. So yeah, we've had our fair share of forgettable shirts in the past. We've had our fair share of shirts as well that look very similar. So we've had the diagonal red and white design twice now, I think. I know we've had the design Nike done it first with the white top and the dark blue and the light blue. We've had that a couple of times. So yeah, for away tops, there were some quite similar things. So yeah, it was easy to blend them together or forget about them altogether.
Absolutely. So no further ado, I'll let you describe your first shirt, and then we'll show the viewers your shirt. So what's your fifth top of your favourites?
So number 5, this was my first ever shirt, or the first ever shirt I can remember owning anyway. I would have been 4 years old when this came out, and I also saw Rangers my first ever game, which was 30 years ago, just last week. My first ever game was a 1-1 draw with Rangers at Dundee. It was a 1-1 draw at Ibrox with Dundee United. I can't really remember much detail of the game other than the clip on YouTube. My dad tells me it was only Kuznetsov's comeback match. So yeah, that's why I picked this top. It's a cracking top as well. A top that is iconic to many Rangers supporters for one particular image, which I will talk about when you show us the top. But yeah, for me, it's just this is where my love affair began with Rangers.
So this is the shirt that Alan's picked, the Admiral shirt from 1990, is it, Alan? 91?
Yeah, 1990 to 1992, was it, for 2 seasons?
And so what was the memorable moment that you were mentioning?
So the memorable moment was at the end of the second season, at home to Aberdeen, one particular goal to clinch the league title. Big Mark Hateley rising above a certain Alex McLeish to header home and clinch the title for Rangers. Interestingly enough, I should have said this at the start of interest, just a point. And the strips that I've picked, we have won 14 trophies whilst we have wore these strips, and we won 4 of those trophies wearing this Admiral top. The first season we won the league and the League Cup, beating Celtic 2-1 in the final. The second season we won the league and the Scottish Cup, beating Airdrie in the final. And an interesting note as well, that second season, when we won the league and the Scottish Cup, beating Airdrie in the final, we were knocked out of Europe by a certain Sparta Prague. So hopefully we'll get a wee bit of revenge.
Very much so. But what did you think of the design of the shirt? Was there anything you particularly liked? Well, obviously you liked it, but was there anything that stood out for you that you really just liked?
Simple design, blue collar, with a dash of blue the collar. I know there's a bit of the material in the background as well, but for me, just a simple design and an iconic shirt. And one, as I say, my love affair began with Rangers in this shirt. So for me, happy memories. It also marks a time, as does another shirt that we'll mention. It also marks a time where I have fond memories of going to Ibrox with my dad, and a lot of my childhood memories revolve around going to Ibrox with my dad and my granda. And this shirt and a couple of the other shirts on my list remind me of that time of my childhood as well. So happy memories, especially watching Rangers 1-9 in a row on them.
Yeah, nice, so nice. So we'll move on to your number 4 shirt. Again, I think this one's very underrated. A lot of folk don't talk about this one, but I've got this one quite high on my list, and I'm glad you've got it. What do you make of it?
Yeah, again, it's a particularly for home shirts. Sorry, and that's the reason. Again, it was another successful season. We won the double, and we won the league and the League Cup, and that League Cup final in particular was an extremely iconic moment for in our recent history. And once you show the shirt, I'm sure anybody watching will remember the League Cup final.
Yeah, and that very League Cup final was the obvious one. Who scored the winner?
Yeah, that was Nikita Jelavic, and what a goal it was. Tiger Woods could have got a curve on the ball like that.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, when they first came out with this shirt, I wasn't very enamored with it. But I think it's one of these ones, Alan, that it grows on you. It certainly, it's a nice, simple design. That even the collar was something that was very different from shirts that we had over the years.
Yeah, the fabric as well. It was different. It was different from the kind of top you've got on now. The kind of top I've got on now. So it was a different feel to it. It was comfortable. And
cloth, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was also the last time we played in the Champions League group stages as well. Was that season? So, for me, an iconic shirt. Last time we played the Champions League, we won the league. Massive League Cup final win over Celtic, injury time winner from Jelavic.
Yeah.
I've got a cat behind me. There we go. She's wanting to get involved as well.
Mine's not here yet.
we played 55 games that season. Kenny Miller was our top goal scorer in all competitions, and just another shirt that brings back happy memories watching Rangers. Nice. I wouldn't have picked any of these shirts if it didn't bring back happy memories.
Absolutely. So, and your number 3 on the list now. This was a surprise one. I don't know why it was a surprise, but I'm glad you've picked it.
It's controversial. So this was a top. This was a top that was brought out, and let's be honest, it was brought out for marketing reasons. But I thought it was absolutely incredible. The shorts as well just stood out. I'm a traditionalist when it comes to football tops. Rangers for me is red, white, and blue. But there is another colour acceptable, but only if it's paired with the right shade of blue for me. I'm not a fan of black. I'm not fan of black tops. So black weather colours, I'm not a fan of. I don't think it's a Rangers colour. This other colour, it's not a Rangers colour, but if it's paired with the right shade of blue, it's very, very smart. It's a nice combination. And it's a 2003 away top, which was originally marketed as tangerine, but let's call a spade. It's orange and blue.
Correct. And I think it was most famous, this shirt, for the Scottish Cup final, wasn't it?
This shirt, we didn't actually wear it at the Scottish Cup final.
Oh, was it? No, was it League? When did we play Aberdeen then? Was it?
We wore, no, that was, so that you're thinking of when we beat Aberdeen 4-0.
Yes.
And we wore our blue tops, but it was Orange Day that day. All the fans wore orange because celebrate the Dick Advocaat era. This top's probably most remembered for being binned in October. It was so controversial that Rangers were asked to scrap it, and I think we wore it again that season, but I'm pretty sure it stopped getting sold at a certain point. It was originally marketed as tangerine, and then the Rangers chairman at the time, John McClelland, said in the AGM it was orange, and that got all your groups like Call It Out, kick racism out of football. That got all of them on Rangers back, and eventually they bowed to the pressure and scrapped it, and the white shirt was brought out. This season they came out, we also wore this top. This was our home top. It was a treble winning season, and we wore the white top in the Scottish Cup final against Dundee.
That's right.
Yeah, that was the game that Amoruso, that was his last game for Rangers, and he scored the winning goal. So yeah, just a cracking design for me. It's they got the colours combination spot on, right shade of blue to go with it, and it's just another cracking top, and it's something that I've not finished talking about.
It's funny. When I was looking back at what you said, you picked this. I was trying to find games where this top was in. I couldn't find many, and I thought, why is that? But then obviously you've said the club bowed to pressure because of the obvious colour.
Yeah, it was worn very few times. I think probably if you were to Google this top, the best image that comes up is Peter Lovenkrands scoring at Rugby Park against Kilmarnock. So that's probably the top image at the turn. The other image is the one I sent you, Ronald de Boer standing against the goalpost in the marketing ad for it. But for me, it was just it was a good design. It must have made the club a fortune because everybody had it. But for me, just a top I like. And I keep saying about the right shady blue. Hummel tried to release a very similar top a couple of years ago, and for me, they got it completely wrong. The shades of the colour weren't right, and it wasn't a nice top at all. So it just goes to show that these things do matter sometimes.
Yeah, I think it was pretty much similar to the lilac one they brought out recently, Alan, I would say. They've tried to replicate an old top and just not quite got it right, have they?
Yeah, I think the lilac top was a one-off in the early to mid '90s. We tried to replicate it. Puma tried to replicate it as well. And I think looking back, the Puma top, the Puma version is maybe a little bit underrated. When you look back at it, it's a darker purple. It's a darker purple, and I quite like it. As a design, maybe not the fabric and the condition of it, but as a design, it's maybe a wee bit underrated. But yeah, I think Castore have got it all wrong this season.
Yeah, totally agree. So we move on to number 2 shirt, and I would say
number 3, Viston.
Sorry, number 3.
No,
sorry,
no,
yes.
It's
number 2.
My apologies, it is 2.
Yes.
I've just not scored 3 off my last.
But I would say there's a lot of people who'd have this as number 1. But I mean, I'm not disagreeing with order you've got them in. But this is iconic as a shirt would come out, as I would say.
Yeah. So this is another treble winning shirt. But it was a shirt we had for 2 seasons, and I think, if memory serves me right, this is the last top we ever had that lasted 2 seasons.
I think you could be right.
Yeah, so this is the last home top we ever had that lasted 2 seasons. As I said earlier, some of my favourite memories were going to the football with my dad and my granda. Growing up, watching Rangers winning 9 in a row, favourite childhood memories. And you cannot talk about the 9 in a row era without talking about the 92-93 home top.
The very one.
It needs no introduction.
It's a thing of beauty, isn't it?
It absolutely is. So yeah, first season we wore this, we won the treble, we went 44 games unbeaten in all competitions, and we were the closest that we'll probably ever get to competing in the Champions League final. 10 games we played in Europe that season, undefeated. Never made it to the final despite being undefeated. We can go into the reasons as to why that was or not, but we could talk about that all night. So yeah, probably arguably the most successful season in the club's history. A lot of people will say when we won the Cup Winners' Cup that was the most successful season just because we won the Cup Winners' Cup. But arguably for me, looking at all the competitions, this is it's the most successful season in the club's history for me. Couple of interesting points about the first away shirt that we had. It was the same design, just the colours were reversed. It was a white shirt,
correct,
with red stripes on the shoulders and a blue. I think it was I'm sure it was a blue collar.
Yeah.
And for me that was classic. Away shirts at that time were just the reverse of whatever the home tops were.
Yes.
But another thing I like about it is the 3 stripes in the shoulder are clearly a marque Adidas. They're clearly an Adidas branding ploy. Yeah. Can you imagine these days if Castore or other clubs, Nike, Adidas, Umbro, had such a prominent mark on a club strip? Fans would be in an absolute uproar. But we seem to accept this and we loved it. And I think Liverpool had a similar design on their away top. They had it. I think they had it on one shoulder.
Straight across, wasn't it? Yeah.
Was it straight across?
I think it was straight sort of down. Yeah.
And it was just. Can you imagine that these days people wouldn't accept it?
No.
People wouldn't accept it. People would say the badge on the breast is more important than anything else on that top, and they're right to say that. But we were quite happy with that at the time, and no wonder it was such a. It also reminds me, I watch a lot of Arsenal. I've been to see Arsenal several times, and it reminds me of an Arsenal top at the time as well. The collar was very similar.
Yes.
And I'm very similar in my approach to tops when it comes to Arsenal. I'm a traditionalist, red and white, yellow and blue, and it reminds me a little bit of an Arsenal top from back then as well. And
one thing I've been noticing looking through these shirts is the badges have changed quite a lot. And then this one, the badge was quite. I think it was a bit of a change, this badge, but they were trying to move the club, try to sort of, I don't know, make it a bit more modern. Would that be right?
Yeah, it was that again. That's the badge I remember growing up. The RFC in the middle with the scroll across the top. We're probably. I don't think we're unique, but we're probably one of the few clubs to have two badges. Certainly these days, with an official club crest and with the badge that is on the top, similar to what's in this one.
So
we're I don't think we're unique, but we're possibly unique in Scottish football. We're possibly the only club in Scottish football to have that, an official club crest, and then a different badge on the shirt. And I think, as memory serves right, as far as my lifetime is concerned, we've always had that.
Yeah, I think I totally agree, and I just love the simplicity of it. As you say, you couldn't get Castore doing or Puma doing anything on the shoulders like Adidas did. It's very much just simple. You've got the three stripes, and it was just a winner, wasn't it? Yeah,
absolutely. A couple of years ago, I read the book. Sorry, I can't remember for the life of me who the name of the author, but A Season to Remember. Based on the 92-93 season, and it was stories for different players and different people involved in that. And at the time, the Adidas shirt deal for Rangers was the most lucrative deal in Europe. It was worth more money to Adidas than Manchester United, than Real Madrid, than anything like that. And we sold an incredible amount of shirts that season and the following season. And again, loads of success. I mentioned that we won the treble. We were unlucky in the Champions League. Great memories against Leeds United. But the following season we won the League and League Cup as well, and we got to the Scottish Cup final where Dundee United beat us thanks to Ali Maxwell. So we were very, very close to winning back-to-back trebles over those two seasons and wearing that iconic shirt. And, a lot of people, when you see people mocking up shirts these days, a lot of people refer to this. We'll never see anything like that again.
No.
Even if Adidas do become the manufacturer again, they'll never repeat that. Never repeat it.
No. And obviously, it's not giving too much away, but this is your most iconic home shirt?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, when I think back to my childhood and I think back to watching Rangers, I picture Mark Hateley, Ali McCoy, Stuart McCauley and Durrant wearing that shirt.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what again. It was very early days in my love affair with Rangers, and it's a lot of good and happy memories, and reminds me of simpler times.
Yes, I totally agree, and I don't think you'll have many people disagreeing with that shirt. So now we'll move on to your number one. Now, as I say, when I seen you were picking this one, I was kind of surprised because you obviously think home shirts or something like that, but you've went for something completely different, which I'm glad of. And what's the story about this being number one?
So again, this takes me back to, this is a very early shirt I remember owning. I remember wearing when I was a young boy. And again, a bit like other shirts on this list, happy days, early childhood memories. Going to the football with my dad and my granddad, going out playing football with my mates, wearing this shirt. Rangers didn't wear it a great deal. We never wore it a lot as an away shirt. It reminds me of players like Mark Hateley, Peter Hustra, positive Duncan Ferguson wore this shirt as well.
Yes, he did. Right.
That's the type of players this reminds me of. There's two images. I don't know where it is. There's two images. One is Mark Hateley celebrating scoring a goal somewhere away from home. Not sure where. And the second is of Ian Durrant. It looks like he's preparing a pre-match kick-off. And we wore it in the Champions League. I can't remember who it was against, but we wore it in the Champions League once as well. So there's a few memories there as wearing the shirt. But yeah, the 1993 away shirt, the orange and blue stripe design, it's just an absolute thing of beauty. It's an absolute thing of beauty. I see loads of people wearing this shirt now, but it is not original. It is a knockoff, and it makes me sad. It does. It's because nothing will do the original justice. It's very difficult to get the original and in any kind of good condition, unless you're willing to part with a lot of money. But it's an absolute thing of beauty. Again, it's a one-off. It's unique. It's rare, and it reminds me of, like I said, so many times before already. Simpler times and happier times.
I think that one of probably the most iconic game was when I think Ali McCoy scored 2 late goals at Wraith, was it?
Yeah, that's right.
And we were either 3-2 down or something like that. We won 4-3.
Yeah, I think it was 4-3. Yeah,
yeah.
It's again, the Super Ali era. We've just spoke about it in the live podcast earlier as well. Loads of great memories of Ali McCoist, and when I think Ali McCoist, there's 3 of the 5 shirts on my list that Ali McCoist wore and scored goals in, and won golden boots in, and was top goal scorer in. For me, growing up, the Rangers 9 in a row team were my team. That was my team.
Likewise.
So my shirt selection was always going to be heavily influenced by that period, which it absolutely has.
Yeah. And as I say, there's a lot of people have this high on their list, but maybe not number one like yourself. But it's nice. It's nice. It's crept up there ahead of the 92, 93, because I kind of thought that was going to be a lot of people's number one. But it's nice to see it's been pipped by something else, and what a shirt it was. Yeah,
absolute belter.
Yeah.
Belter.
So, we've hit your first 5. Now I've threw a wee curveball into you and asked for your least favourite. Now this list could be endless and quite long, but I'm surprised. But yeah, I'm kind of surprised of the one you picked, but not totally surprised, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, I don't like black tops as a Rangers colour. So any black strip could have made my selection, but they didn't.
It didn't, exactly.
Which probably indicates how little I think of this top. We went through a spell with Puma where the quality of the shirts were absolutely terrible. They had 2 good designs. Looking back, the purple strip that I mentioned earlier, not at the time, I didn't think it was great at the time, but looking back, it wasn't too bad. The other one I quite liked the design of was the white away strip with the blue across the breast and the gold badge.
Yes.
Looking back, I think that was quite a nice top as well. The problem with Puma is the quality was absolutely horrendous, and it put a lot of people off. And the home tops weren't nice, and it also, as I said before, a lot of these tops remind me of happy, simpler times. The Puma tops probably remind us of bad times.
Terrible,
in that days. Then we switched to Hummel, and we thought we had won a watch, particularly when Hummel brought out the first home top. The quality was better. It wasn't great, but it was better. And the first home top, for me, I like the first home top. And I think everybody thought, here we go, we've finally got rid of Puma, we're cutting ties with Mike Ashley, we're going in our own direction now, and we can start afresh under Hummel. Then they started to bring out other tops.
Yes. I mean, but as you said, when we went to Hummel, you kind of, well, for me certainly, you flash back straight to sort of Denmark sort of strips.
Yeah.
Iconic shirts, just they spring out straight away. Yeah. But some of these ones were not good.
I think fans of a certain age were quite happy when we moved to Hummel, because we remember those Denmark shirts, Brian Laudrup, Michael Laudrup, Denmark winning the Euros. Some of the younger fans at the time maybe didn't have those iconic images and were like, Hummel, Jesus.
Aye, who's this?
Yeah. So we were quite happy, and as I say, I think the biggest thing was we were moving away from the dark days, and we were doing our own thing. But as I say, after that first home top, they started bringing out other tops. I wasn't impressed with the white away top with the blue and red flash down the middle, because that had been done before. I wasn't impressed with the black top with the blue pinstripes. As I say, I don't like black tops.
Yeah.
But then in 17-18, they brought out this red top, which
wasn't much imagination, was it?
no. You could buy this top. You could buy this top online as a training top without the RFC, the 32 red on it. It's just a Hummel top. So this was a basic Hummel top, and they just stitched RFC onto it. It was, for me, you could easily take the RFC off of that and stitch an Aberdeen top on, Aberdeen badge onto it, and you wouldn't know you wouldn't know the difference. Nothing about this top stuck out for me and screamed Rangers. I don't have any particular memories about us playing in the top, other than the fact it was 2017-18, so we were probably getting beat. So yeah, no specific memories, but just a terrible top, no imagination, no design, and a cheap option. They just took a cheap top, a very cheap top, stuck an RFC on it, and tried to charge us 50 quid for it.
Yeah, I must admit, when you it could be a Denmark top, it could be a Man United top, it could be Aberdeen, as you say, it could be any team that plays in red, pretty much.
Yeah. There's nothing other than the RFC. There's nothing to suggest that's a Rangers top. So that makes my my top for worst top we've ever had.
Is there any? I'll throw this one to you. Is there any honourable mentions that you were gutted that didn't make your 5?
Again, I think any top in the 9 in a row era. The Adidas top with the flashes down the side. That was '97. When we clinched 9 in a row again, iconic moment for the club. I quite like this top that I've got on now. Again, we won a treble in it. We were doing well in Europe. We had some big players playing in this jersey. So yeah, there's plenty of tops there. I also like some of the goalkeeper tops. Remember, I think it was 94-95. We had the two, with the yellow one and the blue one that was the same design. It was like somebody just throwing a paintbrush at it. I like both of them. I like those goalkeeper tops. The white goalkeeper top that Andy Dibble wore at Park End. I loved that top. Absolutely, I had that and I wore it everywhere. I absolutely loved it. So yeah, there's plenty of tops that I was gutted never made my top 5, but you know what, it was a top 5, so you had to narrow it down eventually.
Very true, very true. Well, I'll tell you what, it's been a nice trip down nostalgia lane. I'll thank you for your time. It's brought back so many memories with games and memories, as you say. Everybody's going to be different, but these tops were personal to you, and that's the most important thing. So thanks for coming on, and it's been
thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's thanks for making it so. As I say, it's nice to have people make it so personal to themselves, because then you could pick any top, as you know, but it's nice to have tops that are personal.
Yeah, I think that was it for me. The vast majority of these tops were personal, and happier days.
Absolutely. Well, thanks very much for coming on, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.